What's going on, everybody? How's it going? I'm back. I'm here. I'm catching up with my hero. I missed last week, wasn't able to stream last week, but I'll do last week's chapter this week. I know we're on break this week, so I don't expect too many people to be here. We're on break, so I'll do last week's this week, so then next week we could be caught up. Take a swig. Hey everybody, how's it going? Let me know if I'm in focus, because I spent all this time making sure my camera was in focus, right? And then I go to see, set everything up, and I'm not in focus. And I didn't feel like touching the camera again. So now I just scooched up. So what you see, what you get. I don't feel like taking my hood off. It's kind of chilly. Yeah. That's all I got. I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm gonna read this. Playing catch up anyways. We left off with what's his face? We left off with Dabi. So this should be some Dabi stuff. Let's click on it. We're gonna open it up, and doesn't look like there's Dabi stuff. Or maybe it is Dabi stuff. Bound to a fiery fate. Let me pull up the chat. I'm a Muppet. What's up, Madman? Sonic 2 is great. I loved it. How are you? Happy Sunday. All right. Deep breath. All right. I suppose the big day has begun then? Question mark. 350 bound to a fiery fate. Police station. Be quiet. You're light on guards today, so it's pretty obvious. All to prepare for today. That's why we sought out twisted raw material born into this world. Twisted raw material born into this world? Ah, he's talking about people. There we go. Dabi stuff. Warped seeds that could serve as his vessel. Yeah, look at her. Skin's freaking falling off. Ay, Dabi. 11 years earlier. Sokoto Peak. And sure enough, look. He's burning up. That's his jaw. Jaw's gone. I still haven't shown him anything. So Dabi did go up on the mountain. He did combust. And you're telling me that Garaki and All For One found him? Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. That one too was born with some cracks in him. No. Maybe from the very start it wasn't just cracks. What's up, Tinking? Maybe that boy was born with everything. Wow. So he did burn up. Would have died, and All For One came and took him. Jaw replacement. He wakes up. Get better soon, sleepyhead. Where am I? I'm still alive. Oh, he's awake. Sleepyhead is awake. Okay. Hold on. Where are we? Was that? Oh, he got a new voice. No wonder. Okay, we're having questions answered. No wonder why. Like, his family wasn't able to look at him and recognize him. Makes total sense. Skin replacement, hair is a different color, different voice. Like, it's making sense. You would look at him and be like, that's not my kid. And he was taken somewhere. And this said 3 years. Hold on. Zooming in. Was that really my voice? This is where we live, doctor. It's been 3 years, sleepyhead. You were asleep for 3 whole years. At least that's what the doctor told me. Since I haven't been here all that long. 3 years? How? What happened? What's up? What's going on? I was on Sokoto Peak and then I burned up and I have to get home. Who the hell is this? We can't have that now, can we, Sonny? Why not? From now on, you live here with everyone. Your very own place under the sun. They're your new family. You'll come to love it as sure as the sun does rise. All for One either gave Tenko, Decay, or amplified his quirk. Absolutely, I think so. Man's a buff flower. It's a Bakugo. He did something. He did something to him. Huh? That can't be. I gotta get home. I bet that dad was just too busy with work to come to see me, right? Probably. Yeah, he must be really worried. Those were some awful things I did and said. I should apologize to Mom and everyone. And Dad still needs to see what I can do. This and all for... Just when you think you can't hate All for One enough. Just when you think you can't hate him enough. Ah, that hurts. Dude, that hurts. Taking into all the information that we know. Seeing him be remorseful, right? Seeing him be remorseful right here, being like, I should apologize. I need to do all these things. Truly saying that. And it's at that same point where Endeavor and Ray had the conversation about the kids and whatnot before, like, he ended up going crazy and whatnot. Like, this could have, like, they true. Oh my gosh, this pisses me off. Just when you think you can't hate All for One anymore. Just when you think. Sadly, your hope is in vain. Restoring your burnt and broken body was a monumental task. Your missing pieces had to be replaced via regenerative tissue. You're a changed man with that burnt rictus look, I said that correct, on your face, and yet you survived. I'm changed? I don't get what you're saying. You'll never exhibit the power you once did. Every organ was damaged. Your senses, your ability to feel pain, all dulled. Your body is debilitated, dilapidated. It's a weird, dilapidated. Thank you. Sorry. And you'll never be the same again. But alas, despite our best efforts, we wanted to welcome you in at your full strength. We failed. But you must be suffering, you poor thing. But I might just be able to restore your flames to their full glory. Well, what do you say? Will you join our family and allow me to raise you? All right. Help me out. So we have this moment where he's kind of losing it. He's kind of like, I need to get back home. I need to do this, X, Y, Z. And then I'm going to assume this is All for One. It's talking to him, telling him it's either All for One or Dr. Graki talking to him, explaining everything that's going on. And he's telling him that, like, you almost died. You'll never be the same, etc., etc., etc. And then he hits him with the "we failed." And is this the moment where Endeavor tells him to cut it out or not to train anymore? I don't even know. I have to go back to those chapters and look. And it's like, no way am I getting trained by anyone else. Let me continue. Let me just zoom in. He'd already been too molded by his upbringing for us to lead him astray. He was already festering away inside. Even the man who had known absolute control far and wide couldn't exploit the boy's obsession with his father. Gotcha. Yeah, it's clicking. Those kids were our spares in case anything happened to Tomura Shigaraki. A seedbed of ferocity and hatred. One full of vessels for the Demon King. That's nuts. All for One had a litter of children just in case something happened to Shigaraki. So that means Shigaraki was his first choice. That's nasty, man. That's disgusting. Another thing is that in chapter 158, Overhaul was also here as a kid. What? Dude. All for One. So you're telling me All for One is just a pedophile? That's what he is. He's just a pedophile. Think he got the idea from Endeavor? Who? All for One. All for One's old. He's been doing this for a long time. It seems like. What do you mean got the idea from Endeavor? I don't know what you're saying, man. All right. Those kids were our spares in case anything happened to Tomura Shigaraki. A seedbed of ferocity and hatred. One full of vessels for the Demon King. Dabi, as one of those spares, was a failed experiment. Look at this guy. How despicable. Nah, I don't think All for One. I think all Endeavor, that was just something on his own. I don't think All for One was monitoring Endeavor and did no way. All for One clearly like if we think about this, he got Dabi, brought him to this place. No, he didn't get this idea from him. Oh, and Overall is older than all the kids. If anything, Overall and Shigaraki are around the same age. So I don't think he got the idea from Endeavor. I think All for One is just a nasty creepo. All right, let me continue. How despicable. No, never mind. What are you even trying to say? More crap about how All for One had everything planned out from the start? Yeah. He's getting in his eyes in bag. I'm saying they'd better watch out. Because that one boy never did buy what we were selling. So you're saying that, nah, we gave up on Dabi and let him run loose. Because after his body came back to life and he was up and about, he wasn't supposed to live for more than a month. What a surprise when the broker brought him back to our doorstep. Why had he come back? How was he still alive? Interesting. Ujiko, you're the one who kept me alive, right? I had to know what Dabi was really thinking, so I arranged the moment when we'd be alone, just the two of us. Why, I'm tickled pink that you realized. Now tell me what's been keeping you kicking. Overall was 27 in his first appearance. Yeah, if Overall was there as a kid, All for One's been doing this for a long time. Seeing this walking corpse here gives me a decent idea of what you people were planning to do with me. And now I'm back because this seemed like the perfect place for my funeral. That one glimpse told me everything. He kept his dying body tethered to this world through a pure, blazing grudge. This is where Hori's love for Star Wars comes in, because there's ideas floated in Star Wars that a Sith can keep themselves alive in the dark side just purely off of rage and hatred. That's why Anakin didn't die on Mustafar, because he was so angry he just stayed alive, and that kept his power growing. Even getting this panel right here with like his eyes seemingly glowing like a Sith glow. If this were to be colored, I guarantee you Hori would probably make it orange or yellow. It's clear. That's a clear. This is a clear like Star Wars reference in my brain. Like the only reason why he's alive is because he needs to get even. He has to get even. Has to. All right. Shoto. I did come home, actually. Even though I was weaker than ever and there was no way that that what I was hoping for was there. But I was sure something must have changed. All I wanted to see. Hold on. I feel like I read that wrong. Let me try it. Shoto. I did come home, actually. Even though I was weaker than ever and there was no way that what I was hoping for was there. But I was sure something must have changed. It's all I wanted to see. I still just wanted to be seen, but then... snap. Really? He saw this? Oh no. Instead, I was shown once more. After 3 years away, I witnessed that old familiar scene. The reason I was born. The fact is, as a failed creation, my life had been pointless. This family had left me behind in their past. If he only knew. This is the whole thing of do right by somebody the first time. He runs home hoping to see. He comes home, he sees a mural for himself. Endeavor beating up Shoto and the rage in his eyes. If he only knew, right? If he only knew that Endeavor never believed that his son was dead. When you surpass your limits, it's like everything you've built up is flipped around upside down. I focused on honing my flame so I wouldn't be so weak when next we met. This body of mine kept peeling away and falling to pieces, but I never felt a thing. Just look at that's disgusting. You want battle moves? I've seen them all over and over. He's worried. Shoto, listen, I think. Yeah, he's been prepared to die from the start. Every time that thing saved the city, every time that thing got a boost in popularity, my heart kept pounding away. Let me continue. I still think there's a possibility that he might get redeemed, see through everything, see where his family is now, and die. I think I would kind of like that for him. I don't want him to be tortured like this. Ever since the day Ever since the day that Toya died and Dabi was born. I really don't. He's praying at his own thing. That's crazy. Eat is energy born of living things as they move and thrive. All for one who seeks to live forever had no use for that mad heat rushing headlong towards death. Oh my gosh. Never mind. Look at this panel. The demon lord himself had to abandon that frenzied flame of death. Dude, he's melting the statue. That's insane. Once I've burned away all that thing holds near and dear, that'll be the mark I've left on this world. Flash fire fist. Like I said, big brother, not on my watch. Dude, he looks like a demon. Dude, he looks like a freaking demon. Look at his hand. Like he's literally turning into like fire itself. It's picking up from this panel right here. Like he's literally like oh my gosh. Dude, this panel is insane. This panel is freaking insane. Yeah. He's, I don't even. Shoto's doing his new move. Dabi's got claws. This is nutty. It was like he transformed. That's what's crazy. The whole chapter. Like getting all of this. Like seeing this stuff, like seeing these panels right here. It's like he's transforming. But he's just burning up. It sucks so much. It sucks so much, this old Dabi situation. This whole Dabi situation sucks. Like, it's terrible because knowing he came back home, and what really is crazy is, like, you could give yourself the false hope that if he would have seen anything else in the house, he would have been fine. I don't think he would have been fine. Like, we would have gotten to a moment where he reached this point. But of all the things, yeah, you did. You definitely did. Of all the things for Dabi to come home and see, is to see Shoto getting beat across the back with sticks and the rage in Endeavor's eyes. This right here is so Sith-like, it's crazy. It's so Sith-like. Wow. Endeavor should have learned his lesson. This was... He went crazy after Toya died. That's already like been... He literally like legit lost his mind. Yeah, because of Golden Week, right? Yeah, Golden Week. I just want Hori to be okay, because the last chapter was unfinished. It makes me want to go back and look to see if it was updated. It probably won't get updated until It probably won't get updated until the volume comes out later this year. Dabi did sleep through puberty. Yeah, especially looking at this chapter and then looking back at this chapter, it's clear that the end of last week was sketches. Very clear. Let's take this one and then look at the start of 350. It's clear that it wasn't finished. So now, here's my question. Now that we know All For One had this place where he was just fostering kids. How many people were involved in this? Like, how many people are like a backup vessel for All For One? And also, if the series is supposed to be ending really soon, I need to hold on, because it looked like Dabi lit this place on fire. Right? He lit this place on fire. On page 10, he lit it on fire. Yeah, it's this one right here. This Dabi, it's the same exact image. Hold on. This one right here, it's the same image from the end of 349, but it's finished. That's how I feel like the end of 349 was definitely sketched. So I'm glad. I just want Hori to take breaks so that he's not killing himself trying to get this series out. But I think this is very clear, and it's a very spring point. If My Hero were to end this year, this whole All For One having this place for all these kids is a clear point for there being a second successor to him if All For One does die, and that they, just like how they had Gagan in place, they had this place, they had Gagan in place, they had this place where these kids were set up. You clearly could springboard another individual. Yeah, easily. You can clearly springboard an individual that came from that place. That could have been, like, you could easily do some story of one of the first kids that All For One brought in here, and then when he found Shigaraki, everyone else became, because it's clear All For One could have made this place, been fostering these kids, stumbled upon Shigaraki. I don't think he stumbled upon him, but like found Shigaraki, knew who Shigaraki was, clearly knew who Shigaraki was, and put everybody on back burners. But the first kid could have been either failed or completed or something, and he's just out here, and he's a grown man now. Very possibly could be a springboard for more stuff, or a part 2 or something like that. Introduce like the Akatsuki or something, but have it all be kids from have it all be kids from this like this All For One foster home, and have them all be ridiculously busted or something. We're not saying I want that, but you easily could do that. This is my favorite. This is one of my favorite panels of the series. This one right here. Hold on. All For One is the man in the suit in Shiki's backstory. Clearly, he clearly is. He did something to him. This is legit one of my favorite panels in the entire series. This Dabi panel is one of my favorites. I love it. Like, it's just the way it's drawn, the words that are on it, the eye, it just gives me Star Wars vibes. It gives me Sith vibes. Like, he should be dead, but through his hatred, he's alive. It's the only thing that's keeping him alive. It's so Star Wars. I love it. Yeah, and it's clear the man in the suit is 100% All For One. It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. Do you think that Johnny Nomu was a kid who Dabi burned? I didn't even think of that. Could it be a possibility that John Chen was one of the kids at the place and Dabi burned the place down, and they just took the kid, turned it into a Nomu? Dr. Garaki did. That's something it didn't even cross my mind. Now I'm zooming in, and I'm trying to see if we possibly could recognize any of these two girls that are right here, or see anything. One, two, so far we know of 3 kids that were here. There's 3 silhouettes, 1, 2, 3, and we've only seen 2 of them, right? And then this guy, we've only seen 2 individuals, but there's 3 silhouettes. So we don't know how many kids was at this facility. Also, the gorilla saying about that All For One had planned everything from the beginning is also a little funny, yeah. John Chan would have to be someone that Dr. Garaki was fond of or had some sort of connection to, because he really, like, I don't want to say liked. I'm about to get the channel. I wouldn't necessarily say like he loved John Chan, but it's clear that he had an affinity for John Chan. So John Chan would certainly have to be someone important to him, right? Who? Oh man, I'm mixing this up. The Nomu that grabbed Deku back in where did the stain stuff happen? Hosu. Goodness gracious. The Nomu that grabbed Deku from Hosu, we know that was one of the kids that used to bully Deku with Bakugo. Now, was that kid related to Dr. Garaki, or was that just a kid in the neighborhood? Okay, that's okay. Okay, I was like, I don't want, because I'm like John, like he turned his grandson into just a regular Nomu. But John Chan has to be someone important. So I don't know. John Chan has to be someone important. I think that's how it was, Garaki. I think that's how it was. Garaki turned his grandson into the flying Nomu. That's why the flying Nomu deviated. Because Shigaraki was up on the tower like, that Nomu's deviant. It's not doing what I told it to do. Because the Nomu recognized Deku from bullying him and took him. I don't know who John Chan could be. I think John Chan being one of the kids here, or being someone that was supposed to be something special but prematurely died, is a good thing. Maybe John Chan is this guy, the flower dude. We didn't get a name from this flower guy, right? Can't have that now, can we, Sonny? From now on, you'll live here with everyone. Live here with everyone. Very own place under the sun. For your new family, you'll come to love it as it's sure. You'll come to love it as sure as the sun does rise. Sadly, your hope is in vain. Restoring your burnt and broken body was a monumental task. The missing pieces had to be replaced via regenerative tissues. You're a changed man with that, but you're a changed man with that burnt rictus look on your face, and yet you survived. You'll never exhibit the power you once did. Every organ was damaged, your senses, your ability to feel the pain, all dulled. Your body is dilapidated. You'll never be the same again. But alas, despite our best efforts, we wanted to welcome you in at your full strength. Am I reading that right? Yeah, it's but alas, you'll never be the same again. I definitely read this wrong. It goes, you'll never exhibit the power you once did. Every organ was damaged, your senses, your ability to feel pain, all dulled. Your body is dilapidated, and you'll never be the same again. We wanted to welcome you in at your full strength, but alas, despite our best efforts, we failed. I read that wrong. I read it, but alas, like I read that completely wrong. No, I'm doing Black Clover and book club. I'm only on like the 90th chapter or something like that, or the 100th chapter. We failed. You must be suffering, you poor thing, but I might just be able to restore your flames to their full glory. Well, what do you say? Oh gosh. What do you say? Will you join our family and allow me to raise you? And he's like, no. Now, it's not a question, but I'm kind of asking. All this stuff that I'm assuming All For One was saying to him. I'm pretty sure this is All For One talk. It's either All For One or Dr. Graki. One of them are talking. This is the All For One text, so I'm assuming it's All For One. It's telling him that he'll never be the same again, and that he wasn't supposed to live past a month, but he's still alive, and Dabi seems stronger than ever. So is everything that they said, everything that they thought would have happened to him completely wrong? Or is Dabi a nerfed version of himself? And if Dabi's a nerfed version of himself, how freaking strong was his quirk? I think we could get more next chapter. At this point, I don't think his backstory is incomplete. I think there's still more information that, I would love to get it completely filled in. But as of right now, we've gotten Endeavor's point of view, Rei's point of view, his siblings' point of view, Shoto, Fuyumi, Natsuo, Shoto. We have all of their points of view. And the only point of view that we did not have was Dabi's. And now we finally got into Dabi's point of view. If they never show us any backstory ever again, I'm fine, because they answered enough questions for me to be like, all right, cool. Would I like more information? Sure. But I do think we got enough information where if we never got any more backstory, I don't think we could be like, well, what about this? I think it's just like Dabi went up there on that, Toya went up there on that mountain because he still wanted to prove to Endeavor that he was the one not to be abandoned. Like, he still had something to show him, and he practically killed himself for it. And then All For One saved his life. We skip a couple of years. He wakes up. He kind of gets offered the whole, do you want All For One? Without saying, do you want All For One? They offered that to him. He said no, and then he just wandered. And he spent the rest of the time, all the way up until the first time we see him, with just watching Endeavor and 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 watching Endeavor, to the point where like his hatred kept him alive. I don't think we need to see every moment of what Dabi did, because it's clear Dabi obsessed over Endeavor. So all he did was obsess over Endeavor and murder people. I don't think there's anything else more that Dabi did. Because as we get from right here, Dr. Garaki was like, oh my goodness, the broker brought him back. So it was clear there wasn't any, it's like putting it all together. After all this happened, All For One would then fight All Might and get his head punched off. So All For One was off the table. That means Dr. Garaki was in the background moving everything. So when he's on page 10 and 11 and stuff, when he's saying the broker, which is Garan, when he brought Dabi back to their doorstep, he's just like, oh my goodness, we haven't seen Dabi since the day he left us. So I think all Dabi did was just murder people and just obsess over Endeavor from this moment here, when he runs out. Where is it? From this moment here, when he runs out, to this moment right here where he walks back in, where we first get to see him walking past, back in like chapter 100 or something. I don't remember. I don't think we don't need anything else filled in, because the only people I think he would have interacted with would either have been his family member or or them. I don't think there's another party that's at play that he could have interacted with. Ian Dabi also said he trained to become stronger again after leaving. So it's like, that's all he did. He obsessed over Endeavor, and he just grew his hatred, and he trained, and that's it. That's all he did. And he got to the point where he went to go find them so he could do exactly what he said right here. He needed to know like certain things. Like he had hunches on everything, but upon meeting these people, he just needed everything confirmed so that he could get to this point right here. I think we've gotten everything of Dabi. I think as far like the only thing left with this Endeavor family, the Todoroki family, the only thing that's left is just the resolution now. Like we've literally every single individual in the family, we've gotten their point of view. We know what the conflict is. We know how they all feel about it. We know that the rest of the family wants to come together and move forward with him, and he does not. And he's willing to turn himself into ash in order to burn this family to the ground and burn this man to the ground, to rip his heart out, burn his heart out, I should say. So now the only thing left is the resolution. Does Dabi die? Does Shoto die? Does Endeavor sacrifice himself for Shoto? I think there's no coming back for Dabi. I'm sitting here hoping, just because this hits so hard, all of this stuff, because we like Endeavor was away. Yes, he was. But we also know that like it's hard to say like he loved his family when he did all these things to his family. But being where he is now, being remorseful, wanting to atone for all the things that he did, and his family not necessarily like forgiving him, but they're all working together in a sense so that they all can atone, because they all had a hand in all of this that is happening. I would not necessarily like want him redeemed and he's happy and cool, but if he were to see that his family did care for him, his family did love him, his family is loving, his dad does see him, I wouldn't mind if he was redeemed in death. Like as he's dying, he can see the error. I'm only going to say the error of his way. Like, yes, he could have, like, yes, he was a firecracker, but Endeavor did imprint a lot of things on him. But Dabi, like, he was that way. That's who he was. So I even here, I would hope that I don't see him being alive. I don't see how he could stay alive. So I can see him dying, but I wouldn't be like upset at all if he was like redeemed in death. As he's dying, he realizes that he did have these things were possible. I wouldn't be mad if he died angry. Either or. But I personally wouldn't mind it, because last thing I want is for this kid who's been taken advantage of basically his whole life to go out feeling that way. Endeavor, the man who could not be stronger than All Might, and All For One who could not be All Might, fighting each other. And Endeavor doing what All Might could not. Yeah? Let me read that again. Endeavor, the man who could not be stronger than All Might, right? And All For One who could not beat All Might. Yep, fighting each other. And Endeavor is doing what All Might could not. Yeah. You know, it's a crazy way to think of this, right? If you look at what Endeavor was someone obsessed with becoming the number one hero, obsessed with surpassing All Might, decided to have children so that he could further that dream of surpassing All Might. Has a kid who is stronger than him to a fault, literally to a fault, is stronger than him, and is deemed not worthy to inherit Endeavor's will of becoming the number one. I don't want to say, because I don't think Endeavor casted Dabi aside. I think Endeavor could have did a better job at telling his son no, but Dabi, he's so headstrong. He's just like his dad. He's literally just like his dad, not gonna take no for an answer. So it's like yes, Endeavor could have done more, but Toya could have accepted it the first time. It's hard. He's a kid. He's not gonna accept it. Like from age 4, like Endeavor watching him getting singed and all this stuff, and the hair turning white and all this stuff, telling him no, and he just couldn't accept it. He couldn't accept that, and Endeavor moved on from him in a sense. So, and lesser terms, Endeavor discarded the thing that was supposed to become the number one, and then All For One goes and tries to put the pieces back together to what could have been the number one so that he could take it for a vessel, and it rejects him. Of all things, it rejects him. Like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want you. It rejects him, only to make his way back around, not to be used as a pawn, as a vessel for number one, but basically just to wreak havoc on the world in a sense, or wreak havoc on this family. I think it's a really cool, I think it's a really cool just thing where Dabi had the potential to be one of the greatest heroes ever, and he's literally just going up in flames. He had enough potential that both the good and the bad wanted him for their purpose of being the top of the food chain. And he ends up being neither. I think that's really cool. Oh god. Oh goodness gracious. Man, we almost been streaming for an hour. It doesn't feel like it. I don't know what I'm gonna use for a thumbnail. I'm not gonna put Dabi on my thumbnails because I have friends that are anime onlys, and I don't put usually. It's just like I find it hard to search for thumbnails because I don't want to be the person that spoils someone. So I don't, because if I put Toya anywhere in the thumbnail, especially looking like this, he looks like Dabi. So there's no way. I can't do that. I think I don't want to do this. I might end up putting the Shoto picture as the thumbnail. Part of me is also thinking about cropping this and just putting All For One in the thumbnail like this. It'll be hard to tell what this is. Anything else is just too much. Like, this panel isn't big enough to make a thumbnail. It sucks. I'm not gonna use this like that. This looks like Dabi, and then you're gonna be like, well, why doesn't Dabi have black hair if you're an anime only? And then you're gonna put 2 and 2 together and remember the freaking picture from, because they showed the memorial thing at their house already. So, and I'm damn sure not gonna put this in the thumbnail. It's everything in the chapter. I think the only thing I can get away with is this panel. Is this one right here. But just crop it so it's only this. It's only this part. And at this point you're going to be like, well, the man in black, you might be like, is that All For One? And then you could be like, well, is this kind of fire? And then I'll probably end up photoshopping this speech bubble out, because even this dialogue, you could insinuate something from it. I think it's the only thing I can come up with, because either than that, I don't feel comfortable putting anything else in the thumbnail. Yeah, last thing I want to do is be the be the reason someone got spoiled. It's terrible. I can't even imagine this. This is crazy. So now my question is, because Madman brought it up, you think he got the idea from Endeavor? How long was All For One watching? Yeah, not a singe, not anything on him, but how long was he watching them? How long was he watching them? Another question. Do you think All For One ever tried to get if Shoto would have done something like this, would All For One have showed up for Shoto? I don't think so, because at that point he was on life support. But this is clearly, it's clearly before his fight with All Might. The All Might fight happened in universe, and the All Might fight happened 6 years ago. So this was 5 years. In universe, the All Might fight happened 6 years ago, because we're a year past, right? No, 7 years ago, because we skipped an entire year. Because when I'm trying to think, when All Might first showed Deku the scar at the beginning of the series, Deku was like, it must be like, I know everything, this must have been from like 5 years ago or something. I think it was 5 years ago at that point. He trained for 10 months. So that's another year. And then this second year, this whole freshman year, first year of school. So it's either between 5 or 7 years. Which means that this, I don't know, what, 4 years before that? Which means this was happening at like the height of All Might. And then he was asleep for 3 years. So even when he woke up, this was still before his fight with All Might. Like, so if there was no Dabi, he would have gone for Shoto, maybe. I think so. Now, it was in season 1, it was 5 years. It's only, all of My Heroes happened in 12 months. Just a little bit more than a year. If All For One was searching for strong kids, why didn't he go for Bakugo? He did go for Bakugo. That's why Bakugo got stolen at summer camp. Bakugo fought back, and then they took Bakugo back. It's just he got the Bakugo a little bit later when he was older. Bakugo never, I don't think Bakugo ever found himself in a situation where All For One could just take him, like, without causing a scene. Because it's like All For One, he wasn't in the business of making a scene. So like, the whole mountain is on fire. No one's gonna be able to get close, but I can. I'll take the boy. Shiggy, Lil Toya Not Toya. What was his name? What was Shigaraki's name? What the hell? Tenko. Little Tenko was just wandering around. So if a little kid is just wandering around, you can play the role of the adult that brings the kid back home. So it's a lot of I'm not making a scene. I don't think Bakugo, well, granted Bakugo was running around, but it was always like a bunch of kids around at the same time. And he's not going to want a little Deku, or he's not going to want one of these little knuckleheads, but he has potential. So I think it was just Bakugo probably never was in a fortunate situation where All For One could step in. But he definitely did try to take him, because that was his plan. That's why Bakugo got kidnapped. All For One being a Deku dad theory, it's possible, but I don't know. I don't know. If he was his dad, then why take, if Deku did have a quirk, right? If he did have a quirk, why take his quirk? If he didn't have a quirk, he just abandoned him. It's possible, but then it could not be possible. I don't know. It's possible, but it could not be possible. I'm still not sure though. I really wonder how many more people were a spare for All For One. Like truly, how many people were a spare for him? Some people are saying that Deku had decay and All For One gave it to Tenko. Timeline works, I think. That would be crazy. But that doesn't answer the question to make Shiggy have more rage. But why take it from Deku? Alright, I'm sidelining the he's his dad. Why not just take Deku? Right? Why not just take Deku? Why take his quirk and give it to another child? Like, weak body? I don't know. I don't know. Personality maybe, but I think the series has done a good job at showing that if Deku didn't have the mom, I guess that's it, his mother. That's the answer. I think the series has done a good job in showing that if Deku was in the same situation as Tenko, and there's too many children, as Tenko, they'd be like, either way, Deku would have ended up like Tenko, and Tenko would have ended up like Deku if they just switch places. There's so much of like the same boy. To make All Might suffer, I think that's the answer. I think the reason why you take it from Deku is because of his mother, and you give it to Shigaraki just to make All Might suffer because Tenko is Nana's grandson. But is it that petty? Like, all of this is just to spite All Might? You know what I mean? Like, All For One has always had a plan in place even before All Might. So it seems like was All Might, like, I guess All Might being All Might for 4 decades, being that formidable, like, we know how much he hates All Might. But with this, like, this whole successor thing, with all, like, did he choose Shigaraki just to spite him? Just to spite him? Like, they're all in there, like, him and Garaki were all in on Shigaraki. Was that just to spite him? See, that's why I'm asking that. All For One has all these kids in the wings that any one of them could be his vessel. Anyone. But why Tenko? Just to make All Might suffer? Just because he's related to Nana? Nana, she carried One For All. But outside of carrying One For All, was she special before that? Like, what's special about that? Like, did he just pick Shigaraki just to be petty? Because think he's still sticking. Like, at any point, I think he could have just killed Shigaraki and started over. But it's just so, like, all these things are going wrong, and he's just continuing to stick with Shigaraki. Why? I feel like there has to be a reason why this 150-year-old plus man is so hell-bent on Shigaraki. Like, why? I feel like that's a question that I don't have an answer to. Yeah, he doesn't care about Shigaraki. He wanted to take over his body. Yeah. Why his body? Surely there had to have been more candidates, right? This is why I want to know. There had to have been other candidates that were very capable and possible. Why Shigaraki? Why continue? Why Tenko? Why continue? Did he actually take a liking to him? Is he bluffing when he said he didn't care, or does he really not care? Clearly had backup plans. What didn't or did happen for him to not use a backup? Like, Dabi was a spare for Shigaraki. If would they just have kept Dabi in the pocket if Dabi said yes, would they just have kept Dabi in the pocket? Just in case Shigaraki falls through? I don't know. All For One said to take All For One, he needs to have more rage. I know that. I think my question is, why Tomura? Why him? Especially, and I'm working off this theory that what if Deku had it and then gave it to him? Why him? Like, is it solely just to spite All Might? All For One's petty enough to do that, yeah. But why Tenko? All For One said to take off One For All. He needs to have more rage, and All For One has not one bit of rage. I think he hates the hell out of All Might. I think the reason why they weren't able to take it during the war is because of the symbiotic relationship that All For One had with Shigaraki, and Shigaraki was fighting back at the same time. Shiggy. That's why they weren't able to take it, and Deku's will is just a little bit too strong. I don't freaking remember. All For One has his hands in everyone's pot. He's stirring so many different pots at the same time. Like, how many things is he actually responsible for? Now I want to know. I just want to know more about the rest of them. Because I kind of deemed Shigaraki, Dabi, and Compress as like sort of equals. And this throws the balance out of everything because Shigaraki and Dabi both are kind of cut from All for One's cloth in a sense. Learning this information, but Compress is still just from Oji Harima. So I wonder if there was any shenanigans afoot with Compress and All for One, possibly. Who knows? I don't know. Just threw me for a loop though. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. Good chapter. I'm gonna get out of here. We could just keep talking and babbling about everything. But I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Next week there's gonna be a chapter, then we're gonna be on break for Golden Week, and then we'll be back again the week after that with a chapter. So hopefully we'll be back here next Sunday for 351. Have a good rest of your Sunday, or if it's Monday for you. Hold on, I'm gonna set it back for Shigaraki. It's probably a successful one. I guess so. All the kids probably had some form of trauma, yeah. But it seems like from how Garaki was talking in this chapter, it seemed like every kid was a backup for Shigaraki. In case something happened to Shigaraki, we had a number of kids that we could have continued experimenting on the sea. But then also, outside of this hospital for these kids, you had Gigantomachia in the mountains. Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if there's something else. So it's a lot. It's a lot. But thank you guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday. If it's Monday for you, have a good rest of your Monday. And hopefully, God willing, I see you guys next Sunday for 351. So see you, and have a good one. Peace out.